Hi, my name is Jeff and welcome back to my workshop. Today we're going to continue work on the hand-laid turnout. As you can see, when we left off last week, we had the straight stock rail, the diverging point rail, and the frog rails in place. And because I don't use a hinge, the stock and the point enclosure rails are the same. Today we're going to be installing the diverging stock rail and the straight point rail. And that'll get the major portions of the turnout in place. So the first thing I did was measure and cut a piece of rail. And just want to make sure your curve is fairly close. You can adjust as needed. You might have to add a little more bend in some places. You might have to take some out in others. But you're looking for a smooth flow. You don't want to have the spring of the rail trying to bend straight in on the solder joints. By having the rail pre-bent, it'll solder in flat and stay in place a lot easier, and it will take less stress off those solder joints. So with the turnout curved to place, we now need to mark it to cut out the base of the rail as we did on the other stock rail. So just mark the location with the Sharpie. Mark it in so we don't lose our spots. And then we'll get out our grinding wheel on the Dremel. Now I didn't show it, but I ground it down so that it's flush. You don't want to take off the head, just the base of the rail. And you want to try and avoid thinning the web. You want the web to be full thickness and the head of the rail to be full thickness. And just remove the base. The other thing I'm doing is when I cut the point rail, I had a few extra small pieces left. Or when I cut the stock rail, it was just enough to make the two guardrails. We won't be installing them today, but I cut them to length and then just use my needle nose pliers, to bend the ends in at an angle that you're just looking for something that looks good. And then do the same thing on the opposite end, making sure you're bending them so that they both curve the same way. And then we'll do the same thing with the other piece of rail for the other stock rail. With those done, we'll set them aside where we won't lose them. Now it's time to solder in the stock rail. Again, I'm using a Katie coupler height gauge as a track gauge. One thing I learned doing this is it's not a real good track gauge. You're much better off getting either a Katie or a Micro Engineering 3-point track gauge, or there's a couple of companies that make these. They almost look like a wheel axle track gauge with grooves in it that sit in the rails. But something that is designed as a track gauge versus a Katie coupler height guide, which is designed to sit on the rails but isn't designed to hold them in place the way a track gauge will. And it's also better to have a pair of them. You want one on either side of where you work. It'll help keep things straight. You'll see when we test why I'm saying that. And we'll be testing the turnout in next week's video. So, needless to say, it needed some tune-up. We're going to start getting this engaged, and again, I put the flux down and we'll solder it in place at key spots. I'm adding weight to hold things in place. as I track gauge. One thing this experience did teach me is that I may end up getting myself a fast track point form tool to file the points, and in particular the point to the frog. It's hard to see in the video, but the point isn't as sharp as I would like it to be here, and that could cause problems if this were put into operation. So that's a lesson learned. I know some people have had good luck using a belt sander, which I don't have. I used the tools I had. So that's one of the things that's in my future, is possibly buying a Katie or the Fast Tracks point form tool. Okay, with this rail in place and held in place by weights and the track gauge, I'm just going to solder it in and then work my way down and around to get this rail in place. And by the way, as you watch this, so you know, next week's video we will be finishing the main parts of the turnout and troubleshooting some issues that I discover as I tested it. In the final video, I am going to just kind of do a wrap up of the series, go over some of the things that I learned, some of the things I would do differently. And there are some, as I said, I want to get a few more track gauges, and I think I want to get a point form tool or a belt sander to grind particularly the rails for the frog point. But the Fast Tracks point form tool will give me an accurate reading. Since my layout is going to have all number 5 turnouts, I can get away with that. If you're building a larger layout where you're going to have 5, 6s, 8s, 10s, an assortment of sizes, it can start to get pricey with Fast Tracks unless you're doing a lot of each one. So keep that in mind if you decide to go this route and go that route on these. Okay, I'm soldering the points to the throw bar. I had put a bit of the PC board tie material between the point and the stock rail to keep a separation on them, and then soldered it in place, and then do the same thing on the other side, slide the stock rail over, and so that the points are firm against the diverging points are firm against the straight stock rail. And then we'll do the same thing and solder using a PC board tie as a spacer and solder the other point to that throw bar. And I formed the straight throw bar the same way I did last week with the diverging point. I'll put a link in the description, and if I figure out how in a card in the corner here. If you haven't seen the video, I'll have a link. The earlier ones in this series, I'll have a link to video 1 on the end screen, so you'll be able to go back and view those as well. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It doesn't cost you anything to become a subscriber, and you'll get notifications when I post new videos, which are generally every Thursday, with shorts going up on Mondays. So I hope you're enjoying this series, and as I said, please subscribe. Now we'll get the point soldered to the throw bar for the other rail. I'm just going to turn this so you can see it a little easier. And by the way, so you know, my soldering station goes up to almost 900 degrees. I have it set at 850 while I'm doing this. I want it to get the PC board and rail heated up quickly, the solder flowed, and then I can get it out quickly. And I don't have to worry about melting other ties, other solder joints. Hey, and